Welcome back to our afternoon sessions, everyone. Without further ado, I would actually like to take this opportunity to thank Jean Butcher, who's helped us a lot in making sure that. So everything that goes right is due to her, and everything that goes wrong is due to me. So good. So our next speaker is Olga Russakovsky. We're very fortunate to have Olga talking to us this afternoon in this session on workforce diversity. I should mention also that our other talk right after Olga's is on AI and fairness, and I know Olga has recently begun working with Arvind on topics related to fairness in AI. Olga is an assistant professor here in the computer science department. A lot of her work focuses on computer vision, particularly the integration of machine learning, crowdsourcing, and HCI with the ability to make machines see things better. I think she'll talk a little bit about some of her technical work, and also the other thing that she does, which is very impressive, is Ed mentioned it as well, this organization that she started called AI for All, which is an effort to increase diversity in the AI training pipeline and workforce. So without further ado, let's please welcome Olga.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Nick, for the introduction. Thank you for having me. I would love to talk to you about some of my technical work, but unfortunately, in the interest of time, I think I'll just focus on the other hat that I'm wearing, which is as co-founder and board member of this foundation called AI for All. So as we've been talking today about all the ways in which AI will change our world, all the impact it'll have on all the different technologies, all the ways in which it'll revolutionize our society, I want to ask the question of who will actually be building this technology and who will actually be changing AI, who will be defining what AI technology looks like, what are the ideas in AI, who will be the future leaders. It should come as no surprise when I say that there's a diversity crisis in engineering. Still, somehow, every time I look at these statistics, it kind of takes me off guard a little bit. So only 13% of engineering jobs are actually held by women. If you look at tenure track engineering faculty, it's less than 3% African American, less than 4% Hispanic. These are just some metrics of diversity. You can look at many others, and it's really sort of a tragic state of affairs. We are a very, very homogeneous group of folks building this technology. On the plus side, there's been a lot of research looking into why are people leaving, which on one hand is sort of unfortunate, reveals some unfortunate biases. On the other hand, it sort of provides an opportunity to maybe design some interventions. So various studies have pointed out to the fact that some of these minority groups are leaving because of homogeneous culture, because of limited perception of computer science, of engineering, of AI as a field, because of lack of exposure to technical concepts early on. So boys tend to start coding, start playing with toys that reinforce programming, start playing with robots earlier than girls. There's few relatable role models. Once we have this diversity crisis, sort of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Similarly, lack of peer-to-peer support. And so with this bigger picture in engineering generally, we ask the question of what makes AI special. So why are we running a foundation called AI for All rather than computer science for all or engineering for all? And there's three main reasons that I can point to. So one is that AI is a rapidly growing, revolutionary, and application-focused field. Because the technology that we design in AI will ultimately very directly be tied to applications, very directly be tied to consumers, it's critical in AI in particular, I would argue more so than in some other engineering fields, it's critical to avoid building technology that's biased to particular demographics, needs, and values. And in order to do that, we really need folks who represent different demographics, needs, and values to be part of the conversation, part of the team building this technology. The second reason is there's a lot of fear around AI in particular. Again, more so than with some of the other engineering or computer science work. And there have been lots of quotes by some famous people saying things like AI is potentially more dangerous than nukes, or the development of AI could spell the end of the human race. And what that does is create fear around AI such that it creates an additional barrier to entry or barrier to staying in this field. Why would you want to work on something that will spell the end of the human race? And in particular, if you are a woman working in a field where it's 87% men, you already kind of feel out of place. You already, there are sort of challenges around that. But now also, why would you want to do this if it's a field that's going to spell the end of the human race? The third, we'll come back to this idea of fear and what you can do. And I mean, long story short, I think the answer to this, and part of what AI for All tries to do, is actually directly counteract that. So we talk about AI and we educate folks about all the good that AI can do for the world. So really, AI is a positive technology. There's lots of lives it can save. There's lots of benefits it can bring. And this question about spelling the end of the human race is far off and maybe not really necessary to highlight right now in the news. So coming back to the third reason, so the third reason why we're actually focusing on AI in particular, why it's AI for all, is women and other minorities are actually more underrepresented in AI than in engineering or computer science more generally. And it's very hard to collect statistics on this, but we do know that at Stanford, for example, women account for 32% of computer science majors and only 15% of the AI specialization. We know that at the main AI conference at NIPS, women are at 13% and have been at 13% for the past many years. So on one hand, this is a technology where we need diversity the most. On the other hand, this is actually the one where we have very, very little, and less so than we would even expect. So the AI for All's mission is to really increase diversity and inclusion in AI education, research, development, and policy. And one of the AI for All 2016 students, we run programs for high school students, and one of the 2016 students said, until this program, I never thought that people like me could succeed in computer science and AI. And this really gets to the heart of why we do what we do and what we're trying to get at. This, to us, is the ultimate success story. This was a girl who attended a summer camp at Stanford to learn about AI. So what is the model that we take at AI for All? So we believe that the way to do this, the way to bring diversity to the field, is through education, in particular through early education. And we focus on doing essentially two types of activities. So one is we start summer camps to expose diverse high schoolers to AI. These summer camps are started in partnerships with different universities. The first one was started at Stanford in 2015, and we've been expanding since then. These summer camps, each one focuses on a particularly underrepresented group. So the Stanford one, for example, focused on girls. It brings some students, around 20 to 30 students, to campus for a couple of weeks. It teaches a project-based curriculum, so provides access to quality curriculum, sort of both technical pieces as well as some discussions, some demos, some hands-on projects with leading AI labs, including sort of ranging from basic coding to real-world research projects. Everything we teach has a humanistic focus, or not everything we teach, but we try to, as much as possible, have a humanistic focus and design this curriculum in the context of the good that AI can do for the world. So if we teach programming, we teach programming from the point of view of, suppose you wanted to solve this particular application and bring AI to healthcare. In order to do this, here's the kind of technology you may want to build, and in order to do that, here's some concrete technical skills that you need. Of course, all of these programs are need blind and provide laptops, transportation, scholarships, and so on. And the second piece, so the first piece is the summer camps, the second piece is the alumni program. And this is one of the big reasons why AI for All is a national foundation instead of being housed at a particular university. is this alumni program brings together students who have completed these programs, these different summer programs at different locations. The alumni program provides mentorship and ongoing education through partnering with industry, with academia, through doing everything ranging from mentorship, career exploration, networking, leadership development. And I should mention that, so right now this effort, the AI for All, is supported by 3 full-time staff members, including great executive director, Tess Posner, 4 board members, I'm one of them, some advisors, and of course academic and industry partners. And so in 2015, we started the Stanford Program. In 2017, we added University of California, Berkeley to the mix. And in 2018, the hope is we'll have 5 summer programs running, including Princeton, as well as Carnegie Mellon and Simon Fraser University up in Canada. And if we look at the Stanford Program, we actually have a research study published on some of the results and the impact of the Stanford Program that's been running for the past 3 years. And some notable statistics on this. So more than 80% of the students say that they're proud of what they built during the program. 75% of the students feel confident that they can undertake a similar AI project in the future. And after the program, compared to, this is comparing surveys before and after the program, students say they're 20% more likely to feel they're part of a community in computer science. And all of this relates back to some of the work around why are students leaving? Well, they're leaving because of lack of communities, lack of peer support, lack of role models. And these programs seem effective at changing that. The expansion to UC Berkeley in July of 2017, it's the second AI for All location. This was led by Professor Anka Dragan at Berkeley. It was part of the Berkeley AI Research Labs. This program targeted local low-income students. So we brought 23 low-income students from the Bay Area, provided food, transportation, and laptops. And the curriculum included basic programming, career roundtables, and hand-on robotic demos. This was actually a weekend program last year, but we're working to build it out to a 1 or 2 week program starting in this coming summer in 2018. And so I do want to talk about the vision for the Princeton AI for All program. Starting in 2018, we're just starting kind of to plan this out, and if any of you are interested in helping out with that, that would be fantastic. It's going to be a 3-week program, so we know that. It's going to run from July 23rd to August 10th. It's going to be residential, and the classes will be in the computer science building. I think it's very important for these programs to actually have classes next to where the research takes place. This is part of the beauty of this, is that these students get to interact with professors, with graduate students, with postdocs actually doing this kind of research. The demographic is racial minorities. That's the target population. It will likely be rising 11th graders. Stanford was rising 10th graders. Berkeley was rising 10th and 11th graders. I'm thinking of making Princeton rising 11th graders. That's the current plan. It'll be co-ed. It'll be both boys and girls, aiming for a 50-50 split. And so the curriculum will include, of course, core AI topics such as basic machine learning, introduction to AI fields such as computer vision, natural language processing in the context of humanistic societal applications, as before. There will be a strong emphasis on AI policy in collaboration with CITP, because there's this great initiative here, and of course we want to take advantage of this and teach the students to think about AI policy and think about some of the questions around that. And incidentally, this is part of the reason why I think it should be slightly older students compared to Stanford, is because it might be good for them to have a little bit more of an understanding of history and a little bit more sort of maturity in that space in order to really appreciate some of the policy questions. And again, as before, it'll be a combination of lectures, hands-on activities, demos, and field trips. And I do want to mention that in addition to kind of the most obvious benefits and impact that this program would have on these students, there's also a lot of benefits of creating these programs at the universities. So in addition to kind of creating a more diverse and inclusive pipeline of future students, these programs, and I witnessed this firsthand at Stanford, they provide, first of all, unique teaching and mentoring opportunities for current undergrads and grad students. They establish a community of students and faculty working together towards an actual tangible answer to the diversity crisis. Because more and more there's sort of these conversations around, yes, we should bring more diversity, but it's not unclear sometimes how and what we should do about it. And creating a program like this provides a tangible answer. This is one answer. It's by no means an exhaustive answer, but it is an answer. And for students and faculty who want to work towards this, this is one very concrete opportunity. In addition to that, I've already mentioned, so we did publish a study in 2016 evaluating the impact of the Stanford program, but what I didn't say is that the study was actually, the two lead authors were undergraduates. This was an undergraduate summer research project to examine computer science education and evaluate, sort of design good criteria, good metrics for how to establish a good computer science education, AI education program, as well as evaluate it. So I will conclude by repeating myself that AI will change the world. We are asking the question of who will change AI, and AI for All hopes to create diverse technologists ready to develop the next generation AI. Thank you.